first act this evening is Ash, our very own Ash, to sing Someone to Watch Over Me. Ash Torrey.
What I'm supposed to be doing is stalling while they get in place. Are we in place?
Moses led the St. Andrews Junior Youth Group. A long time ago in a faraway land, a little baby boy was born who changed the world forever. He was named Moses because his name means that he was found in the water. His mother put him in a basket and hid him in the bulrushes so he would be killed along with all the other Hebrew babies. She sent her daughter Miriam to watch over him. One day, Moses became a shepherd for his father-in-law. He saw a bush on fire that never burned up. He was curious to get closer. That's when he heard God's voice tell him to take off his shoes and cover his face. He was scared. Then God told Moses to rescue his slave. Well, Moses said, "Please don't send me." But God convinced him that he would be with him and help him. So Moses went all the way to Egypt to meet Pharaoh and said, "Pharaoh, Pharaoh, ooh, baby, let my people go." Pharaoh, Pharaoh, ooh, baby, let my people go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Pharaoh was not impressed. So Moses went back to Pharaoh and said, "Pharaoh, Pharaoh, ooh, baby, let my people go." Yeah, 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 yeah. Pharaoh laughed at him. Terrible disasters came, like frogs and locusts and hail. Yet Pharaoh still refused. So Moses went back again to Pharaoh and said, "Pharaoh, Pharaoh, ooh, baby, let my people go." Yeah, 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 yeah. All this time, the firstborn son of every Egyptian family died. And so Pharaoh finally let them go. When I find myself in times of trouble, Moses comes to me, speaking words of wisdom that peace. In my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be. Celebrate Egypt by singing, "Pharaoh, Pharaoh,
A lot of wisdom, a lot of insight, and a lot of history. This little act brings to mind that not many people realize that within the Bible is the first recorded use of drugs. Actually, it was a laxative, and it's somewhere early in the Old Testament that it says Moses took 2 tablets and went into the mountains.
I know that one too.
Heard that one.
It does.
Nancy. I've been told we have had a late entry come into our midst tonight, and I have no idea what the next act is going to be, what this person is going to do, other than that their name is Locke, and I'm assuming they're not a cab driver from New York City. You're up.
Pocahontas, The Colors of the Wind, I think the title is. Okay. You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just anything you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. You think the only people who are people, the people who look and think like you. But if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you learn things you never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Or asked the screaming wildcat why he screams? Can you see with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun's sweet berries of the earth, and roll around the riches all around you. And for once, never wonder what they were. The rainstorm and the river are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friends. And we are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends. How high the sycamore grows once you cut it down, and you never know. And you never hear the wolf cry to the blue corn moon, or whether we are white or colored skin. You need to see with all the voices of the mountain, and need to paint with all the colors of the wind. You can hold this earth and eat, and still own this earth until you can paint with all the colors of the wind. Thank you.
A real live person, and he's going to do a comedy routine for us.
I'll try not to. Well, I wanted to correct you on one thing. My name is Bubba, and I come from South Austin. Now, y'all may think up here in the land of Kish and Memphis that our idea of international travel is to come over across the river and go to Highland Mall. But we actually, my cousin Bernice actually set me up with a guided tour travel group to Europe, and I was going to share with you some of my impressions of that. First thing I'd like to tell you is that there's several advantages to going on one of these guided tour groups. First thing is that you can get a complete slideshow of all the cathedrals of Europe. Now, my friend David Rackley told me that that wouldn't be necessary tonight, but if any of you are terribly disappointed, I can get my wife to go get them out of the car. Another advantage of the travel group is that you get a monogrammed flight bag that matches with everybody else's. This is very convenient, so that if you have some comment that you want to share with someone, you know that you can find someone there that speaks English, because some of these people in these foreign countries, they don't understand English no matter how loud you speak to them. You see, if you're standing there by the Eiffel Tower, and you want to tell somebody, well, they got taller buildings in Houston, then you know who to pick to share that with. Another advantage of the guided tour group is that you get a guide. Now, ours was named Hubert. And Hubert was real good at explaining all kinds of things to us, like when we went to Italy, this was a custom there for men to pinch women so you didn't have to duke it out with them. It's just their custom. I guess the First country we went to was England. And for those of you who are not familiar, this is where all the British comedies on public television come from. Now, we went to see the Queen at Buckingham Palace. However, she didn't show. I figured either it was a bad hair day or she was just too worried about Princess Diana's next interview. Another place that you would probably like to go is France. Now, this is the place that you've seen in pictures with the RGIs riding through Paris in tanks during WW2, and all the people cheering and yelling and everything. Now, I figure there must have been a lot of tank damage because those people aren't as friendly to Americans anymore. Now, Hubert explained to us that this was the land of haute cuisine, but we explained back to Hubert that the whole time we were there, we didn't get a decent bowl of chili with beans or without. Now, another country we went to was Germany. Now, this is the guys that we beat the pants off of in WW2. As a matter of fact, a lot of them are still in short pants. I think they call them Lederhosen or something like that. We did go to one place there that was sort of interesting. It was called Hamburg. And they still had all their Christmas lights up there. The street we went down had all the red lights. We figured the next street over must be the one with the green lights. Hubert was telling us what a good place this was for beer, but the whole time we were there, we never did get a bottle of Pearl. Now, another country we went to was Italy. And my conclusion on Italy is I didn't want any Italians to do any construction projects for me. We went to one place called Venice or something like that, and they hadn't even finished the streets. Everybody was having to paddle around in boats. And they had another place called Pizza where they had this tower that looked like it was about to fall over. We also went to a bunch of other countries or places, let's see, Denmark and Belgium and Amsterdam. And I never could get it straight whether these were different countries or it was different names for the same country. But anyway, I highly recommend that you take one of these, that you do go to Europe. And if you do go to Europe, I recommend that you take a guided tour group. And if you do take a guided tour group, I recommend that you ask for Hubert, because we had that boy trained real good before we left.
If the kids came up and sat down here in front where they could see. But Steve says, don't do that. That's right. And so what we're going to need to do is right after this next act, who is going to be using a lot of this floor out here, we'll get y'all to come down here. So you will have your chance, but if y'all can move back just a tad. know that I know this about her, but she and a friend were down in South Padre and were walking down the beach and came up on, she was walking down the beach, her friend wasn't there, but she came up on this very handsome, very well-toned, bronzed young man standing beside a door on the beach. He said to her, would you like to take an ocean cruise for $5? And she said, sounds like a deal to me. He gives him $5 and he says, just go right through this door. She walks through the door and there's a couple of guys on the other side that just pound her on the head, knock her unconscious, pick her up, tie her onto a log, and throw her out into the water where she starts floating along. Well, her friend about this time is beginning to wonder what happened to Courtney. And so she goes walking down the beach, runs into the same nice young man by the door, says, have you seen my friend Courtney? He says, no, but would you like to take an ocean cruise for just $5? She says, that sounds like a good deal to me, and gives him $5, says, right through this door, walks through the door, two guys bop her on the head, knock her out, tie her up, throw her on a log, throw her out into the ocean. Well, Courtney and her friend are out there floating around, and after a few days, they pass each other. And the friend says, this is really terrible. I paid $5 for this ocean cruise. And Courtney says, you think this is bad? Last year they served food. We have a strange person from a strange land. No, wrong act. Right. We have a special guest with us tonight, Sandy Ann. Sandy Ann, as you can hear, has a couple of points to make. And Sandy Ann has a secret.
They can't hear me without a microphone. I think I got to meet most of y'all on the way in. My name is Sandy Ann, and I'm 5 years old. And I have a secret to tell you. But first I want to tell you something else. When I is it on? Can y'all hear me in the back? Okay. When my mommy wears lots of makeup, and when my mommy's gone, sometimes I go in her bathroom and I take the makeup and I try to put it on, and I look in the mirror to put it on, and I make myself real pretty. Oh, that's so good. That's good. Thank you. But that's not much of a secret because when Mommy comes home, she knows that I've been into her makeup. I think it's kind of obvious. Oh, and we went to the rodeo and I got a lollipop. And I think I showed some of y'all my lollipop. When we came in today, but that's not the secret. The secret is the lollipop. I keep it under my bed, and I got it at the rodeo last year. And Mommy doesn't know that I have it, but I stick it under there so that it will be hidden and she won't take it away from me. Like after eating it tonight so much my tongue hurts. And I have another, but that's not the secret. There's a different secret that I want to tell you about later. But I have to tell you about something. There's this church I go to, and there's somebody I like there. I kind of have a crush on him, and but he's an older man. I think he's about 12. Did I tell you I'm 5 years old? 5. And someday I think I'm going to marry him, but I'm going to have to get him quick because there's lots of girls after him. has a split personality. Oh, that's it.
Rests on two things. One, the music and the voice that is making it. And two, the words. And when you have a talent and a voice like Phil Greer, and you use words like from 1 Corinthians 13th chapter, you know you've got a winner. Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Greer, Unplugged.
The translation I was using here is okay.
Love is very patient and kind, never jealous or envious, never boastful or proud, never haughty or selfish or rude. His love is that strong. Love doesn't demand its own way. It's not irritable or touchy. It does not hold grudges and will hardly even notice when others do it wrong. His love is that strong. Love's never glad about injustice, but rejoices whenever truth wins out. If you love someone, you will be loyal to them, no matter what the cost. And you'll always believe in them and always expect the best, and always stand your ground in defending them, in defending them. His love is that strong. Love is very patient and kind, never jealous or envious, never boastful or proud, never haughty or selfish or rude. His love is that strong. Love doesn't demand its own way. It's not irritable or touchy. It does not hold grudges and will hardly even notice when others do wrong. His love is that strong. Love is never light about injustice, but rejoices whenever truth wins out. If you love someone, you'll be loyal to them, no matter what the cost. And you'll always believe in them and always expect the best, and always stand your ground in defending them, in defending them. Yes, you'll always believe in them and always expect the best, and always stand your ground in defending them, in defending them. Yes, love is that strong.
That's amazing. Suppose you sing tenor, don't you? That's fine. I'm down this end. Sorry about that. Actually, Phil has an interesting story too. That Sean and David, after the hunting incident, were so enthused and so excited about getting that deer that they were talking to Phil about it. Just recently, it was about in January, and they decided, I don't know what reason, that they'd go down to South Texas and hunt bear. David had never hunted bear. Phil was a pretty good hand at it. And of course, Sean, this was only his second time out. But on the way down, Phil was telling him, well, this is how you do it. You just go out in the woods, find the tracks, follow the tracks, when you see the bear, you shoot it. So Phil was the first one to do it. First day down there. Went out, came back a few hours. He was kind of beat up and scraggly, like he'd been walking through the brush and all. They said, well, did you find a bear? He said, yeah, I did. I shot him. I got it outside. They said, fantastic. What did you do? He said, well, you just go out there and you follow the tracks, and when you see the bear, you shoot it. I said, okay. So Sean went the second day. He thought, well, it's my turn. And he went out. A few hours later, he comes back, and he looks like he's been out in the bushes, sweaty and kind of messy. They said, well, how'd you do? And he said, well, I got a bear. David was just really impressed with his son. He thought, this was great. He said, what'd you do, Sonny? Well, I just went out there, and I followed the tracks and saw the bear and shot it. They said, this doesn't sound like such a hard deal. I think I could do it too. So the third day, David went out. He didn't come back. Didn't come back. Finally, David came back, and he was beat up. He was black and blue. He was bloody. His clothes were all torn up. And I said, my God, David, what happened to you? He said, well, I just went out there like y'all told me, and I followed the tracks, and the train hit me. It's truly magical. You might call it Ryan Square. Ryan Olfey and Ryan Thomas are now going to do a magic necklace.
church talent show. That's okay. I've learned my lesson. We're going to get this on the table right away. I need to do a quick roll call. I don't want to offend anyone. Do we have any Aggies in the house? No. All right, any Republicans out there? Okay. Any Baptists here tonight? So bad in my neighborhood. Just the other day, 2 peanuts were walking down the street. One was assaulted. Dun, dun. You ever feel like you're walking to the beat of a different drummer and they're playing Wipeout? You know, my doctor told me I needed to get in shape. God, I was worried until I realized round was a shape. Anybody count calories? I've counted calories a lot in my life. You know, there's all these different ways to count calories. Anyone counting calories today? How about doing your taxes? Anybody doing your taxes this month? Wouldn't it be great if counting calories was like doing your taxes? It looks something like this. Calorie counting guidelines. Let's see, today's calorie intake, 3,300. Less those round rock donuts at the office because we all know free food has no calories. Let's see, less the depreciation of last night's steak dinner. Food that costs more than your daily income can be depreciated over a 3-day life. Of course, adjustments can be made up for that food that comes back up. Let's see, you even get a personal calorie deduction for food that you give to charity. That's great. But don't forget to fill out that form 8283 for any gift larger than a 15-pound turkey. Child care credit. You can actually deduct calories if you have to eat with your children. See get invented, like Siskel and Ebert action figures, Roseanne talking doll, Braille additions to road signs, Rat Muzak for elevators. How's that new smoking ordinance working out for you? You know, where you can go to the restaurants and there's like a smoking and non-smoking section. A lot of my single friends wish there was a no children section. But that was before they found out about the calorie deduction. I'd personally like to see a, obnoxious section. Now, when you're in a restaurant and now that there's a smoking section, you feel really good about kind of leaning over and saying, "Excuse me, sir, you're in the wrong section." Now you can get in the section and say, "Hey, excuse me, you're in the wrong section." Comedy isn't complete without its knock-knock jokes. So I'm going to wrap it up with one. You got to help me out, okay?
Oh, I know this.
Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Impatient chicken.
Impatient.
case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled each and every byway and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, and I saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Yes, there were times I'm sure you knew that I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall, and did it my way. I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing, and now, as tears subside,
Where the boys and girls are nice as can be, there's nothing to see. They'll say I'll be where the flames roll along the sea. Big from Corpus Christi, Galveston, even Austin, any place amongst our states, not too far. If you're from Texas, not from Texas, well, we're from Texas. Talk about your Texas, we're from Texas too.
Our next act, if you could call it that, needs absolutely no introduction. It's a chair.
That's some cost to this song that I think really nice. Oh, and I want to dedicate this song to Sandy Ann. A lot of people ask me what's the secret to happy marriage. I like to put it in a song. Well, you can't have your wife and your outside of liberty. I said you can't have your wife and your outside of liberty. If you're out with your woman, your wife at home, do you, baby, what you try to do? Well, you can't have your husband and your outside of us too. Said you can't have your husband and your outside of us too. When you're out with your husband, home, will you run your books? Baby, what you trying to do?
Our final performance this evening is Steve Hazen. Many of you don't know that Steve works for the post office. Steve works for the post office and recently received an award. Actually, it was through his creative work of crossing the carrier pigeon with a woodpecker that the Postal Service now has a way to get the mail to you and it knocks when it gets there.
Today is the cattle rise. We got technical difficulties. They have to go back to the line. Now we call upon you to use your imagination. That's great. I like it. Today's the old cattle rise after they've had their dinner. Now, if the whole audience was like that with their big butanes, we'd be all right. The days of the old West, after the grub has been devoured, cowhands would sit around the campfire, warming their feet, warming their hands. If it was a warm night, they were just kind of sitting and listening to the embers spark and pop. And they do a couple of things while they're sitting around the campfires. And, by the way, I ran up here for our dress rehearsal yesterday, and my scouting they thought sure I was going to wear a scout uniform tonight. The Boy Scouts still do this kind of thing. They sit around the campfire after they maybe scrubbed out part of their hand. And they do three things. They sing songs, they tell stories, and they tell jokes. Well, I think we've had enough jokes tonight. What I'm going to do tonight, first off, is we've got a couple of ghost stories. And I sure would have the kids down front. If there's any kids that want to move down front, we are already down here. So this is a good time to do it. Now this story, this is a true story. Now people say, oh, that's what they say about all these ghost stories. But at the end, pull it all together, and you'll know that it's a true story. This is a true tale of old-time Texas. And it happened before there was a state of Texas. Back in the days when settlers would come in from Tennessee, parts of the East. Back before there was an Austin, but there were people living near Austin. Out here where, those of you who've been out to near Del Valley, where the wastewater treatment plant is, it's called the Hornsby Bend wastewater treatment plant. Well, the big swoops of the riverbanks are called bends. And there's a Hornsby Bend, and there's a Will Barker Bend, and there's a number of other bends. And these are named after the original settlers who moved in, just like if, for instance, they named your street after you. There was a number of these families. Hornsby and Will Barker were among them. And of course, there wasn't any Randalls or Albertsons to go to in those days. It's in the late 1820s. So everybody had to go out and do what to eat? Hunt. Just like the Bears, like Sean took his daddy hunting. The Hornsbys and the Will Barkers would go out hunting for their food. But the Hornsbys and the Will Barkers were latecomers to Texas. Does anybody know who was already here? Indians. Well, Hornsby and Will Barker and another group came up from near Del Valley and came up to right about just north of where the airport is. Right near Bartholomew Park. They had some luck, but it was warm in the afternoon. They had stopped near a little creek to rest their horses. And all of a sudden, from behind the bushes, they were set upon by a bunch of Indians who didn't fancy their being. Some of the party jumped on their horses and got away. Most of them got away, but there were 4 that didn't make it. And as Reuben Hornsby turned around behind him to look, to see, he realized that those men were just as well dead, because he saw an Indian brave standing over his buddy beside Will Barker with his hair in one hand and a knife in the other, about to escape. Well, Reuben didn't look back. He and the rest of the party that got away took off, went back to home, told his wife what had happened. And they were all greatly relieved that they escaped, but they grieved tremendously for the loss of their neighbors. A few hours later, Josiah Will Barker came to. He could barely see. There was blood all over his face. He reached up to his head and he was sore. And he said, uh-oh, this is That's incredible. I don't believe it. Go back to sleep. A few hours later, the same vision appeared to Sarah Hartman. Woke her from a sound sleep. And this time she would not be denied. She got up. She started the fire. She started cooking the breakfast. And Dawn's early light, she had the men out the door on their way back to find Josiah Wilbarger. They went back to the site of the attack and they found some of their companions dead indeed, but they went a little further towards the creek. And lo, there was Josiah Wilbarger. Pretty much out of it, but still alive. So they got him on horseback and they took him back to camp. They started to nurse him back to health. And he gradually improved. And after he got to the point where he could talk again to the other settlers, he said to me, you know, I had the strangest thing happen. I was propped up against that tree in the middle of the afternoon before the sun went down, and I saw what appeared to be my sister telling me not to worry, that help was on the way. Well, Josiah Wilbarger and Sarah Hornsby compared notes. From the descriptions they gave each other, they came to the conclusion that it was indeed a vision of his sister that appeared both to him while he was waiting for rescue and to her in the middle of the night. Well, in those days, they didn't have television, they didn't have telephones, they didn't have telegraph. All they had was the United States Post Office. And so they wrote a letter to Josiah Wilbarger's sister who lived in St. Louis. And of course, at that time, all the mail went down to Colorado, over to the Brazos, and then down to Galveston, and then by ship to New Orleans and up to St. Louis. It takes sometimes 6 weeks, 10 weeks to get an answer in the mail. Before their letter could have been delivered in St. Louis, they received a letter coming from St. Louis to them, telling Josiah Wilbarger that his sister had died that same night that he was scalped. Now you know that. Josiah Wilbarger lived another 12 years. He always wore a stocking cap. This cowboy stuff for him, by golly. He wore a stocking cap to keep his skull from. And he died of an accident, something hit him on the head about 12 years later. He did die. He is buried in the state cemetery. And if you go just to the south and to the west of Stephen F. Austin gravesite, which is the biggest one in the cemetery, you will see Josiah Wilbarger's tombstone. Stay
will make change. And you can do what you need to do. What I'd like you to do is, since it's St. Patrick's Day, I thought the Irish blessing might be in order, so I'll sing for you the Irish blessing, and then we can all go eat cookies, okay? Thank you for being here again. May the